Today we are going to begin the third chapter of civics, the Union Government of India. The Union Government of India, also known as the central government, is the governing authority of the Union of 28 states and 8 union territories, collectively called the Republic of India. The seat of the central government is in New Delhi, the capital of India. The Constitution of India provides for the establishment of a central government which comprises 3 branches, namely the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The objective behind this was to implement the concept of separation of powers among these 3 branches to ensure proper functioning of the parliamentary democracy in India. So the main aim was to distribute the responsibilities among the 3 branches so that there would be a concept of separation powers among the branches so that there can be proper functioning of the parliamentary democracy in India. So first we are going to discuss in detail the executive. The executive branch of the central government is headed by the president. Now students, this is very important. This you have to keep in mind that this branch, the executive branch of the central government, is headed by the president. It is headed by the president, who is the head of state and usually exercises his or her power directly or indirectly through the officers subordinate to him. However, the president has to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister, who is the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha. So the head of the executive branch is the president, who has to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister is the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha, and the Vice President of India is the executive after President. So this is the structure of executive branch. The next branch that we are going to study about is the legislature. The legislature or the parliament is the law-making body that carries out the responsibility of framing the laws of the land in accordance with the guidelines provided in the Constitution. So it has to make the laws according to the guidelines which are provided in the Constitution. It is bicameral. That means there are 2 houses. This you have to keep in mind. What is bicameral? Bicameral means which has 2 houses which together constitute the parliament. The 2 houses are the lower house, which is known as the Lok Sabha, and the upper house, which is known as the Rajya Sabha. All bills passed in the 2 houses of the parliament, however, are sent to the office of the president for his approval. Only when he or she, the president, gives his or her consent, that bill becomes a law. The next branch that we are going to discuss about is the judiciary. The judicial branch has the Supreme Court at its apex. Apex means at the peak. 21 high courts and numerous civil, criminal and family and consumer courts at the district level. So this was all about the 3 branches of the central government. Now we will discuss about role and the election of the president. President, who is the head of the executive. Role and the election of the president. The President of India is the head of state and first citizen of India, as well as the Supreme Commander of the Indian Armed Forces. So this is important, that President of India is the head of state and also the first citizen of India. He is also the Supreme Commander of the Indian Armed Forces. The President of India lives in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi. The 12th President of India is Her Excellency Pratibha Devi Singh Patil, the first woman to serve in the office, who was sworn on 25th July 2007. Now we will discuss about the procedure of election of the President. The President is elected from a group of nominees by an electoral college consisting of elected members of the Parliament of India, comprising the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, as well as of the state assemblies, Vidhan Sabhas, and serves for a term of 5 years. So this is the tenure of President, 5 years. Historically, ruling party is the majority in the Lok Sabha. Nominees have been nominees from the ruling party have been elected and run largely uncontested. Incumbents are permitted to stand for re-election. Who are the incumbents? They are the officials who are in position. They are permitted to stand for re-election. A formula is used to allocate votes. So there is a balance between the population of each state and the number of votes assembly members from a state can cast, and to give an equal balance between state assembly members and national parliament members. Now, in case if no candidate receives a majority of votes, there is a system by which losing candidates are eliminated from the contest and votes for them are transferred to other candidates until one gains a majority. This is called single transferable vote system. So this was the procedure of the election of the President. Now we will discuss about the functions of the President. The executive power is vested in mainly the President of India by Article 53(1) of the Constitution. Now the executive power is granted in mainly the President of India. By which article? By Article 53 Part 1 of the Constitution. The Constitution vests in the President of India all the executive powers of the central government. The Constitution of India has granted all the executive powers of the central government to the President. Now the first function, the President appoints the Prime Minister, the person most likely to command the support of the majority in the Lok Sabha, usually the leader of the majority party or coalition. The President then appoints the other members of the Council of Ministers, distributing portfolios to them on the advice of the Prime Minister. So, the President appoints the Prime Minister and also he appoints the Council of Ministers and distributes portfolios to them, but on the advice of the Prime Minister. The Council of Ministers remain in power at the pleasure of the President. In practice, however, the Council of Ministers must retain the support of the Lok Sabha. If a President were to dismiss the Council of Ministers on his or her own initiative, it might trigger a constitutional crisis. Thus, in practice, the Council of Ministers cannot be dismissed as long as it commands the support of a majority in the Lok Sabha. The next function is that the President is also responsible for making a wide variety of appointments. These appointments include Governor of States, the Chief Justice, other judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts of India, the Attorney General, the President's officer. The President's officer is also appointed by the President. The Comptroller and Auditor General. Comptroller is the one who controls expenditure and accounts, and Auditor General is one who audits accounts. The Chief Election Commissioner and Cabinet Secretary is also appointed by the President. The Chairman and other members of the Union Public Service Commission, ambassadors and high commissioners to other countries are all appointed by the President of India. Another important function is that the money bill cannot be introduced in the Parliament without the consent of President. Also, in a situation of national crisis, he or she can sanction donations from the contingency funds, the funds which are kept for the situation that may happen in the future, that is called contingency funds. When the Parliament is not in session and if the government feels the need for urgent action, the President can issue ordinances. What is an ordinance? An ordinance is considered valid and effective legislation for the next 6 weeks from the day it is passed, unless approved by the Parliament in the meantime. The President also receives the credentials of ambassadors and high commissioners from other countries. The President is de jure Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Armed Forces. The President of India can grant a pardon to or reduce the sentence of a convicted person for one time, particularly in cases involving punishment of death. The decisions involving pardoning and other rights by the President are independent of the opinion of the Prime Minister or the Lok Sabha majority. In most other cases, however, the President exercises his or her executive powers on the advice of the Prime Minister. The emergency powers of the President. According to Article 356 of the Constitution, the President can proclaim the state of emergency in any state on the suggestion of the Union Cabinet if he or she is convinced that there is a danger of foreign aggression, insurgency. Insurgency means revolt, civil war, breakdown of constitutional machinery, or a deadlock between the ruling and other political parties in the state. For example, President's rule was imposed in Andhra Pradesh in 1973. The last instance when the President's rule was imposed was in the state of Jharkhand in January 2009. So, these are all the functions that are performed by President of India.